You ever notice this pattern? The moment you start showing a woman that you care, that you're genuinely interested in her life, her thoughts, and her feelings, she starts pulling away. It's confusing, frustrating, and honestly, it can feel like you're being punished for simply being a good guy. But here's the truth. It's not about you being too much or needy. It's about how women's minds are wired when it comes to attraction and emotional connection. And if you don't understand it, you'll keep running into the same problem over and over again. Here's the thing. Women are drawn to men who hold their own frame, who have a sense of self that doesn't collapse the moment emotions get involved. When you start caring too much too soon, it signals to her subconscious that you're bending, that you're available for her on her terms, and suddenly, the dynamic shifts. Attraction isn't built on comfort or security at first. It's built on challenge, mystery, and a sense of value that she can't just take for granted. That's why she pulls away when you start showing care. It's not about rejecting you as a person. It's about the chemistry and the balance of power that keeps her interested. Understanding this isn't about becoming cold or manipulative. It's about awareness, self-respect, and knowing how to create a connection without losing yourself in the process. It's about learning how to care without pushing, how to engage without giving all your emotional cards at once. Once you get this, you'll see patterns clearly. You'll know why she distances herself, and more importantly, what to do about it. So if you've been scratching your head wondering why she pulls away right when you start stepping up, you're in the right place. Today, we're breaking down the psychology behind this behavior, giving you insight that most guys never get, and showing you how to navigate it so that attraction stays strong without sacrificing your own value. Welcome to the channel. If you've ever been left wondering why caring seems to chase her away, stick around. This video is for you. 1. Caring too soon kills mystery. You've probably noticed it. The moment you start laying all your cards on the table, texting too much, showing constant concern, or trying to be her emotional rock, she suddenly pulls back. It's confusing, right? But this is where most men miss the point. Attraction isn't built on comfort or security at first. It's built on curiosity, intrigue, and a sense of challenge. When you care too soon, you erase all of that mystery. Think about it like this. Humans are naturally drawn to what feels slightly out of reach. It's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about value. When you show her that your entire emotional world revolves around her, you become predictable, and predictability kills desire. She knows she can get you anytime she wants, and suddenly, the thrill disappears. Your care, no matter how genuine, starts signaling to her subconscious that you're available on her terms, and the spark begins to fade. It's not that she doesn't appreciate care, it's that attraction operates on different rules. Early on, she's observing, testing, and feeling out whether you have your own life, your own boundaries, and your own confidence. If you jump in with all your feelings, all your time, and all your attention, she loses the sense that she has to pursue you. And when the chase disappears, so does the excitement. Imagine you meet a woman at a social event. You're interested, so you start texting her constantly the next day, sharing your thoughts and checking in about her day. She seems fine at first, but after a few days, she starts responding less, takes longer to reply, or even seems distant. What happened? You didn't do anything wrong. You just removed the tension and the mystery that fuels early attraction. Your care became predictable, and now she subconsciously needs space to restore that balance. The key takeaway here is simple. You can show interest, but you need to pace it. Keep a sense of yourself, maintain boundaries, and let her wonder about you a little. Mystery isn't about lying or hiding who you are. It's about showing your life, your values, and your independence first. That way, when you do show care, it lands in a context that strengthens attraction instead of diminishing it. caring too soon isn't a flaw. It's just something most men do without realizing it. Understanding this is the first step to keeping her interested while still being genuine. The goal isn't to stop caring, it's to care strategically, without losing the tension that keeps her engaged. 2. She tests emotional strength. Women naturally test men to see if they can handle emotional pressure without collapsing. It's not mean or manipulative, it's biology and psychology at work. Early in attraction, she's trying to figure out if you have the stability, confidence, and self-respect to be someone worth investing in. If you crumble the moment she challenges you, withdraws, or even just takes a little space, it signals weakness, and attraction fades fast. These tests aren't always obvious. Sometimes it's subtle, a delayed text, a change in tone, or a little teasing. Other times, she might outright pull back emotionally or question your intentions. The test isn't about tricking you, it's about seeing if you can hold your frame while she observes. How you respond here is critical. If you panic, over-explain, or try too hard to fix things, you're showing her that your emotional state depends entirely on her behavior. That's a huge turnoff. The men who pass these tests are calm, self-assured, and consistent. They know they're valuable, and they don't lose themselves when a woman pulls away. Instead of reacting with anxiety, they maintain their independence and continue living their life on their terms. That doesn't mean ignoring her or being cold. It means staying grounded and emotionally stable. Women are drawn to men who can handle tension without losing control. Another key point: emotional strength isn't about pretending to be invulnerable. It's about managing your feelings, understanding what's yours versus hers, and not letting her behavior dictate your sense of self-worth. A man who can do this naturally attracts women because he exudes security, confidence, and reliability, qualities that are inherently appealing. Here's a critical reminder: when she pulls away, don't see it as rejection. See it as information. She's revealing how she operates, what triggers her, and how she evaluates men. If you respond by over-caring or chasing, you fail the test. If you respond by keeping your emotional balance and showing her that your life doesn't revolve around her, you pass. And that's when attraction grows stronger. In short, women test emotional strength because they want to know who you really are beneath the surface. They're not looking for a perfect man. They're looking for a man who can stand firm, keep his values, and maintain his independence even when the dynamic shifts. Understanding this concept is a game changer. Once you grasp it, her pull-away behavior becomes predictable rather than confusing, and you'll know exactly how to respond without losing attraction. 3. Neediness versus genuine interest. One of the biggest reasons women pull away is because men confuse genuine interest with neediness. There's a huge difference, and understanding it can completely change how she reacts to you. Caring about a woman doesn't mean you're needy. Needing her to validate your worth, constantly seeking reassurance, or bending your life around her mood signals insecurity, and that pushes her away. Genuine interest comes from a place of confidence. You care about her, you want to know her, and you're willing to invest attention, but you're not desperate. You maintain your life, your goals, and your boundaries while showing her that you value her. Neediness, on the other hand, screams the opposite. I don't have my own life, and I need you to make me feel okay. Women feel that imbalance instantly, and it triggers a pull-away response because attraction requires respect and curiosity, not dependence. Think about how conversations feel when neediness creeps in. You text too much, check in constantly, or overanalyze her responses. You might even apologize for things that don't need apologizing, or try too hard to prove your worth. This behavior communicates low value, even if your intentions are pure. She senses it on a subconscious level, and her mind reacts by creating distance. Attraction disappears when she feels she holds all the power in the interaction. Genuine interest is subtle. It's asking about her life while sharing yours. It's paying attention without losing yourself in her emotions. It's showing care in ways that are natural, confident, and balanced. When done right, it keeps her engaged and curious. When done wrong, overly attached, overbearing, or anxious, it triggers the pull-away instinct. Another important point: neediness often comes from a fear of loss. You worry that if you don't chase or prove yourself constantly, she'll leave. That fear is visible, even if you hide it. Women pick up on it immediately. Attraction thrives on confidence and emotional stability, not fear. Once you internalize that your value doesn't depend on her, you naturally stop being needy, and the dynamic changes. She'll respect and even desire your presence more because she sees you as someone with his own life, not someone who exists to serve her attention. So, the line between caring and neediness isn't complicated. It's about balance. Care for her, show interest, and be present, but never at the cost of your independence, your frame, or your sense of self. That's the key to keeping attraction alive and preventing her pull-away behavior from becoming a recurring problem. 4. The pull-push attraction. Game attraction is rarely a straight line. One of the most frustrating things men experience is the back-and-forth behavior from women. She seems close one day, distant the next. This isn't random. It's part of what I like to call the pull-push attraction game. Understanding it is key if you want to stay confident and keep her engaged. The pull-push dynamic happens naturally when a woman senses interest but also wants to test your independence and emotional stability. When she pulls away, it isn't necessarily about rejecting you. It's about gauging how much of yourself you're willing to give without losing your identity. If you panic, chase, or overcompensate, you fail the test. If you stay grounded, she sees value and attraction grows. Think about the psychology behind this. Humans are wired to desire what isn't easily attainable. The chase triggers dopamine, excitement, and curiosity. When a woman feels like she can have you whenever she wants, that sense of intrigue fades and the dynamic becomes flat. But if you maintain boundaries, show that your life is full and independent, and don't overreact when she pulls away, you keep the tension alive. That tension is what creates attraction. Another reason this pull-push game exists is that women evaluate compatibility and emotional depth during early stages. She's not always conscious of what she's doing, but her behavior is a reflection of her need to feel secure while also being attracted. Too much closeness too fast can feel suffocating, even if your intentions are genuine. When you give her space without withdrawing your value, it allows her to re-engage and see you as someone worth pursuing. A critical mistake men make is trying to force consistency or predictability. You might think, if she likes me, she should always respond the same way. That mindset kills attraction. Women respond to energy, confidence, and independence, not rigidity. By embracing the natural rhythm of pull and push, you demonstrate emotional maturity and self-respect. This doesn't mean ignoring her or being aloof. It means responding proportionally, staying grounded, and never letting her behavior dictate your emotional state. Finally, recognize that this game isn't personal. It's biological, psychological, and completely normal. Men who understand this dynamic and respond appropriately build stronger connections and deeper attraction. The pull-away moments become opportunities to reinforce your value, not moments of panic or insecurity. Once you internalize that, you stop chasing and start leading, which is exactly the behavior that keeps a woman interested in the first place. 5. Over-availability backfires. One of the most common mistakes men make is being too available. You think you're showing care by dropping everything to be there for her, answering texts immediately, or rearranging your schedule to fit hers. But here's the truth. Over-availability kills attraction faster than almost anything else. Women are drawn to men who have their own life, ambitions, and priorities. When you make yourself constantly accessible, it communicates a lack of boundaries and a dependence on her attention for your sense of self. Suddenly, She has all the power in the dynamic, and her mind instinctively starts pulling away. It's not that she doesn't appreciate your attention. It's that too much of it, too soon removes the challenge and the tension that fuels attraction. Picture this. You meet a woman, and things are going well. She texts you one evening, and instead of living your own life, you immediately drop your plans to be available for her. You answer all her messages instantly, suggest meeting up whenever she wants, and prioritize her schedule over yours. At first, she may enjoy the attention, but soon it becomes predictable, even suffocating. Subconsciously, she begins to pull back because she knows she can get you anytime she wants, and the thrill of pursuit disappears. The key here is balance. Availability doesn't mean being distant or cold. It means having your own priorities, being engaged in your life, and not letting her control your emotional state. When she sees that you have a fulfilling life independent of her, your presence becomes valuable rather than taken for granted. This creates a natural pull effect. She wants to be part of your life rather than feel like she owns it. Another important point. Over-availability often comes from insecurity. You're afraid that if you don't cater to her every need, she'll lose interest. Ironically, this fear makes you less attractive. Women are naturally drawn to men who can manage their own emotions, who show confidence and independence. By stepping back and maintaining your life, you create curiosity, respect, and desire. Ultimately, the lesson is simple. Care for her. Invest in the connection, but never at the cost of your own life or priorities. Being over-available signals low value, and attraction fades. Holding your time and attention as something that's earned, not freely given at every text or call, keeps the dynamic strong, maintains respect, and makes her want to engage with you rather than pull away. 6. How her past shapes her distance. When a woman pulls away as you start caring, it's not always about you. A big part of it often comes from her past experiences with men, relationships, and emotional vulnerability. Every woman carries emotional memory, whether she's aware of it or not. Those memories shape how safe she feels when things start getting real. If she's been hurt before, abandoned, betrayed, or overwhelmed by a man who became too emotionally dependent, her mind learns to associate closeness with danger. So when you begin to show real care, consistency, and emotional investment, it can trigger an internal alarm. Her instinct isn't to lean in, it's to create distance. Pulling away becomes a defense mechanism, not a rejection. This is why some women seem excited at first, but then go cold when the connection deepens. Early attraction feels light, playful, and low risk. But as soon as emotional weight enters the picture, her past starts whispering warnings. She may not consciously think, "I'm afraid," but her behavior changes anyway. Less texting, less enthusiasm, more space. Here's where many men go wrong. They take this personally and try to compensate by caring harder. More reassurance, more effort, more emotional availability. That usually backfires. When her pull away is rooted in past wounds, chasing her only reinforces the fear. It confirms her belief that closeness leads to pressure, expectation, or loss of freedom. The right move isn't to withdraw emotionally or become cold. It's to stay steady. When you remain calm, grounded, and consistent without chasing, you show her something different from what she's used to. You show emotional safety without emotional pressure. That's powerful. It tells her you're not trying to control her feelings or fill your own emotional gaps through her. Another important truth. You cannot heal her past. That's not your job. Your job is to lead with self-respect, patience, and boundaries. When a woman feels that your care doesn't come with neediness or fear, she can relax into the connection at her own pace. That's when trust and attraction grow naturally. So if she pulls away when you start caring, pause before blaming yourself. Sometimes what you're seeing isn't rejection, it's self-protection. And the men who understand this don't chase, don't beg, and don't panic. They stay solid, confident, and emotionally stable. That alone sets you apart from most men she's dealt with before. 7. Men must hold their frame. If there's one thing that separates men who keep women interested from those who watch attraction fade, it's the ability to hold their frame. And by frame, I don't mean being rigid or controlling. I mean staying grounded, confident, and true to yourself no matter what a woman does. This is the ultimate way to prevent her pull-away behavior from dictating your emotions. Too many men let every text, every delay in response, or every hint of distance throw them off balance. They overanalyze, apologize, and chase. Here's the hard truth. When you let her behavior control you, you lose your frame and attraction disappears. Women are wired to respect and desire men who are consistent, stable, and independent. Your frame is your invisible backbone. When it's strong, she feels secure, curious, and drawn in. When it's weak, she loses interest. Holding your frame starts with self-awareness. You need to recognize when your emotions are being hijacked by her behavior. Are you panicking because she didn't reply immediately? Are you questioning your value because she's giving you space? Those are red flags that your frame is shaky. Strengthening it isn't about pretending nothing affects you. It's about understanding your worth isn't tied to her approval. Boundaries are a huge part of holding your frame. Know what you will and won't tolerate in terms of communication, respect, and engagement. If she tests those boundaries by pulling away or acting distant, respond in a calm, grounded way. Don't overcompensate. Don't chase. Maintain your standards, and she'll either respect them or reveal that she's not the right match. Either way, you win because you've held your frame. Here's some constructive advice. Men often confuse persistence with value. Showing care is good, but desperation is not. Holding your frame means caring without clinging, engaging without overextending, and staying consistent without being a doormat. Reflect on your past behavior. Have you allowed pull-away moments to make you anxious or reactive? If so, it's time to wake up and take control of your emotional state. Finally, remember that holding your frame doesn't make you unfeeling. It makes you a man who respects himself, respects the connection, and understands the rules of attraction. When you stop letting her distance dictate your behavior, something interesting happens. She starts leaning in, respecting your boundaries, and seeing you as a high-value man. That's the difference between losing her interest and keeping her invested. At the end of the day, your frame is your power. Protect it, strengthen it, and never let it crumble just because she pulls away. Men who master this create relationships that are balanced, exciting, and rooted in mutual respect. Here's the reality most men never want to hear. Caring too much too soon doesn't make you a good man. It makes you predictable, and predictability kills attraction. Women aren't wired to chase comfort. They're wired to chase value, independence, and emotional stability. Understanding this isn't about becoming cold or manipulative. It's about awareness, boundaries, and holding your frame. If you've ever found yourself frustrated because she pulled away just when you were starting to care, take a moment and reflect. Were you showing genuine interest, or were you leaning on her to validate your worth? Did you maintain your life and your independence, or did her behavior dictate your emotions? Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward creating relationships that are balanced, exciting, and mutually respectful. The truth is, attraction is a dynamic, ever-shifting dance. When you understand the psychology behind why she pulls away, you stop being reactive and start being strategic without losing your authenticity. You learn to care in a way that strengthens attraction, not diminishes it. And that's where real power comes in, caring, connecting, and leading without being needy. I want to hear from you. Have you experienced this pull-away pattern? How did you handle it? Drop your experiences in the comments. I read them, and I engage with you personally. Let's break the cycle together and start building connections that actually work. Remember, caring isn't the problem. How you care is. Master that, and you'll notice a dramatic shift in how women respond to you.